loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.
How can I encourage relationships that propel me to being the best version of myself? Welcome to Making It Last podcast. I'm your host, Noreen Daly, and with me this time around is Jeanette Barry, but throughout the conversation you'll hear me calling her Kenny because that's what I'm accustomed to calling her. She's a wife, mother, but most importantly, she's my friend. She's here to have a conversation with me about this topic that we actually created together. Welcome, Jeanette.
Thank you.
So how can we encourage these relationships? Because previously we spoke about how to identify these relationships. So now let's talk about how we can encourage the relationships that propel us to being better versions of ourselves.
Okay, once you've followed the steps of identifying the relationships that you should actually expend the energy to cultivate, you need to nurture those you find. So you nurture them. It's like a fisherman spending the time to catch fish. He had a good catch. He's not going to throw it back into the sea. He's going to keep it safe so he can have it when he gets home. Nurture the good one. You can do that in several ways. We have a tendency to suffocate people as friends sometimes. We get the idea that because they're a friend, we need to talk to them every day, FaceTime, WhatsApp call, every day, every moment. Different ways that you can nurture. There are important times in a friend's life or in a relationship. A graduation, a book launch, a wedding, whatever it is. Be there for those important occasions. Be there to support. Be there to listen. You have to become a good listener. Nurture that relationship. There must have been a reason why the two of you became friends or you became in that relationship. Nurture those reasons. Remind yourself of those reasons. I have found in my experience that most of my friends are older persons than I am. Probably to me, they make more sense to me. I don't know. We find people around my age group are somehow still restless, and I want to have relationships and friendships with persons who actually edify me or help me to be a better person. And being friends or being in relationships with these people, I realize that they are busy people, and we are not the kind of it's not the kind of relationships where we have the time to talk on for hours on end because they're working, I'm working, I am busy, they're busy. But there are times when that person needs you more than other times, and you need to be there to support. So nurture, support, be constant, but not suffocating. Being constant means that you're there, not always in the forefront, but in the background. Know enough about that person. So I have several friends, but I have this friend. We don't talk every day, but when we talk, it's like we never stopped talking. We give updates to what has happened in our lives. We share some of the probably the things that we're going through. But whenever we end the conversation, we actually feel better than when we started. And that's a relationship that you need. Everybody needs that kind of friend. A friend that is not always nagging or demanding time. Time you don't have. We're grown people. And it's not the high school friend. We have BFFs running through these high school halls and have nothing else to do. So you need friends that don't sap your energy or sap your time, but actually help. The little time that you have to spend with them, they actually help you and you help them. It's a fair exchange. Being there when your friends need you the most and being available. So you're being there when they need you. So this friend I have, she was having some health challenges. And when I realized that was the case, I had to push some things aside to ensure that I was checking up on her more so that she felt the support. She knows that I love and support her. But when you're sick, you need that constant dialogue, that sense that somebody is always there for you. So I expended more energy into that relationship at that particular time because I felt at that time my friend needed me the most. Now, that doesn't mean that when she gets better, I'm just going to drop her until she needs me again. That person is always in your thoughts as your friend. So that person is constant. I know that there's somebody praying for me. I know that if I need a quick word of encouragement or they need that quick word of encouragement, that person is there. Another thing that I value most about those friends that I have, those relationships, we don't have time for gossip. Is never on the agenda. I can't recall the last time I sat down with one of those cherished relationships that I have, friendship that I have, and we sat and we gossiped. I don't know what we gossip about. So there's really no time. When you get the chance to speak, even if we spend an hour speaking, it's always about what are you doing towards your dreams. What have you been doing? How have you been feeling? How's your work? How is things like that? Things that we can build from, things that we can take away from the relationship. So I believe that when we have found the relationships that push us to be better versions of ourselves, we treat them differently than when we just have casual friendships. We embrace and nurture those people. We support them. We are constant, not suffocating. And when they need us the most, that we are there.
You mentioned different ways of giving support. But do you think that maybe in some way, if it is that somebody is such a constant, it can still be interpreted as being suffocating? Or do you think that no, I mean, support is support?
Constant meaning, for example, I met this woman when I went to study in Jamaica. I graduated in 2011. We're in 2020. I'm not that great at math, but let's say it's 9 years, right? No, that 9 years from when I graduated. So give 2 years into that. Let's say we've been friends for 11 years. There's not a day that I haven't been her friend. We've had our arguments, but we have never ended a conversation being angry at each other. I've been annoyed maybe, but we've dealt with it. But in those 11 years, one thing has been constant. I am her friend. That's the concept I'm talking about. So there's never a day that I would say, I don't want to be her friend anymore. Because this is a relationship I value. I've been constant in that relationship in the sense that we have committed to that relationship. We've committed to edifying each other. And there will not be a day, regardless of the arguments or how annoyed we are with each other or something, we're human, that I would find time or make the time or find myself devaluing our friendship or devaluing her abilities as a person. So I am constant in that relationship, meaning that I am who I always was in that relationship, committed, dedicated, and edifying. But I am not suffocating. I give her space. At the same time, while giving her space, I know what's going on in her life. I don't know. You have to experience it to know
it. Okay, fair enough. It is interesting, and I can relate to it because some of my friendships are actually some of my closest relationships are with people who are actually thousands of miles away. So I'm using that as a background to ask how then in encouraging people to help to foster these friendships. How do you do this when the fact that sometimes some of these people are not necessarily right next to you?
So for you know the person, so you make the time. For example, the person is leaving in a different time zone, and if you know the what interests the person, it's easier. It's even easier, right? So let's say I know my friend is into communications or is into writing or is into books. You find something interesting about this, you send it to them. Schedule the time, make the time to touch base, to talk, to uplift, not only to get, but to give. And you might be surprised that there are times when, because of the relationship you have, you pour into that friend without even losing who you are, because it's, to explain it, I don't know. It's an edifying relationship. It helps both of you to give.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
opposed to those that are destructive and toxic, where you keep pouring out and your glass gets emptier and you get nothing back.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
actually helps to give. So what I do is many of my friends are overseas and so on. But what I do is I maintain contact. I know their schedule, so I know okay, my friend is at work from 9 to 4, and I know the kind of professional she is. Even if I message, she won't have the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone while at 6, I do a video call. We have technology at our fingertips.
That's
We
right.
use FaceTime. We can use it. The goal is to make the time and spend quality time. You don't have time to gossip with those people. So much going on in their life that's better than gossip.
I know I can't relate. We're gonna just pause right here for a quick second while we take a word from our sponsors.
Does your business lack branding? Having difficulty realizing your vision? Look no further. Splinth Brand Design Consultancy specializes in developing personal and business brands. Services include strategic management, website creation, social media branding, and more. Visit them online at www.wearesplinth.com. Splinth, the brand you need to succeed.
All right, so we've said a lot, Kenny, and I'm always mindful that even though for us we might say yes, all of this makes sense, there might still be somebody who's listening and very cynical about all that you said. So if it is that somebody, as we're wrapping up, is still somewhat cynical, how then would you describe this as a 3-step process of how to encourage relationships that propel us to being better versions of ourselves?
Okay, I'm going to compare it to marriage. I don't know if the listeners are married or in a relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the three points, three ways that I had to encourage the relationships that propel us to be better versions of ourselves is to nurture the ones we find, nurture the good ones, right? You nurture a relationship that you actually treasure. Whatever you treasure, you nurture it. You take care of it because you want to keep it, you want it to last, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what you support the person. Without support, if your backbone doesn't give you support, you will fall. Your organs will not be held up. If your skeleton doesn't give you the support that you need to support the person. And they in turn will support you if it is a relationship worth holding on to. That support is essential. It's essential for your mental health, your emotional health, even your physical and your spiritual health. You need that support, and you also have to give that support. You also have to be constant, but do not suffocate. In the sense that you don't have to be in the person's business all the time, all day long, as in texting them 5 times a day, calling them 5 times a day, to be constant in their life. But that person should know that daily is my friend, and I need her, even if she cannot help me at the instant that I need her, because she has a life too, and that's the reality. Sometimes we say, I see a lot of these things on Facebook. If you cannot be checking up on me when at the moment that I need you, then you're not worth having. Something to that extent. Or those who checked up on you during Corona are friends. People are going through their own struggles.
That's right.
So not being able to, if I fall sick now at this instant, I call Miss Daly and I cannot get her. Possibly she's in a meeting. Possibly she too is sick. But knowing that the person is your friend, despite the fact that they have a busy schedule, that constant, be that constant person, knowing that that person is my friend. They may not be able to answer to me as soon as I call, but they are your constant. And you know that when she gets the time, she puts in the time. And that is what is important. Being there when you're most needed. You may not be there physically, but I know it sounds like I'm contradicting myself, but it's not. I may not be able to call Miss Daly the moment that she needs me to call her. Right? But I know I got a message saying, okay, I'm not feeling well today. My prayer is being there.
Yes.
And she needs that. You can just answer, I'm praying for you. I'll talk to you later, but I'm praying for you. And if she's your friend and she knows you and she knows what's your life, the kind of life and schedule that you have, she will understand. Because many times we allow these petty things going around. It becomes a norm. Oh, that person has to be my day one, and if they cannot respond to me as soon as I need them, it. We have to realize that these people have lives. They have things doing, they have jobs, and they cannot answer to every beck and call at the moment. But being constant and being mature enough to realize that that person, regardless of the fact that they cannot be here now, that they're still thinking of me and praying for me, that, to me, that's being constant. Yeah. And I value that relationship.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the conversation. This is the podcast where it's all about helping people to have better relationships, not just with themselves, but with other people. Thank you so much, Kenny.
You're welcome.
I'm Noreen Daly. This is Making It Last podcast. Until next time.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life, won't live in the past. All I wanna do now is making it last.